Hi, welcome to Loft 801. My name is Diego, and today I'm talking about my new favorite movie this year, Nosferatu. Directed by my favorite director, Robert Eggers, I'm so excited to talk about this movie. Eggers directed one of my favorite horror movies of all time, The Witch, and my favorite movie of all time, The Northman. Not to mention, he also directed The Lighthouse, which was fantastic. He hasn't missed on a single movie, so going into Nosferatu, my expectations were high, and boy, were my expectations met. Nosferatu breathes life into the classic vampire narrative and beautifully intertwines Gothic horror with a demented love story. It's a haunting and visually captivating cinematic experience that I'll treasure forever. Now, before I hop into my review, if you want to support the channel, then please take a second to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. As a warning, this review will contain some major spoilers, so please continue at your own risk. Lastly, if you want to see me review something, don't forget to let me know by leaving a comment and I will do my best to get to it. Thank you. I'm hopping in 3, 2, 1. Let's take a moment to set up a little lengthy context for this movie. Bram Stoker published Dracula in 1897. Dracula is a horror novel about Jonathan Harker taking a business trip to meet with Transylvania nobleman Count Dracula. Harker escapes Dracula's castle after discovering he is a vampire, and the Count moves to the English town of Whitby. A small group led by Abraham Van Helsing hunt and kill Dracula. Now, Dracula was not the first popular story about a vampire. In fact, the first vampire story was published nearly 80 years prior by John William Polidori at the behest of English Lord Byron. The short story was titled The Vampire and helped spark the legend of counts with sharp teeth and no reflections that must avoid the sun and drink blood. Tons of novels and movies were made to expand upon vampire lore, but Stoker's Dracula was and is the most popular. So much so that in 1922, F.W. Murnau and several other German individuals helped create and produce the silent 1922 vampire film Nosferatu. To avoid copyright issues, Murnau renamed Dracula to Count Orlok and changed a few names and story details. For example, Dracula's three brides, Marischka, Verona, and Alira, are not present in this retelling. Despite these changes, the story is largely a one-for-one of Dracula. Stoker's heirs sued the adaptation and the courts ruled all copies of Nosferatu be destroyed. However, several prints survived and the film became an influential masterpiece of horror and cinema. In preparation for this 2024 release, I read Bram Stoker's Dracula and watched the 1922 version, and I love them. I am a huge fan of classic stories. Frankenstein, King Arthur, The Phantom of the Opera, Robin Hood, Tom Sawyer, Huck Finn, Around the World in 80 Days. I love them. I have a huge collection of these books and I get excited to watch film adaptations. And I'm not the only one. These stories are classics for a reason. You don't need to change much, if any, of the source material to make a good adaptation. That is what I love most about Robert Eggers and the way he directs movies. I have yet to see a director be as authentic with how they portray their films and narratives. Eggers is very respectful of source material and pays meticulous attention to detail in his period pieces. Whether it's the Puritan witch craze in The Witch, claustrophobic living quarters in The Lighthouse, or Nataliker in The Northman, he puts so much care into his movies and makes the time periods come to life. He doesn't make modern movies or historical fiction that feels like it was produced by Netflix. He depicts realistically meaningful stories. Nosferatu is a masterpiece. Eggers perfectly recreates 19th century Europe, from the decaying grandeur of Orlok's castle to the quaint streets of Wisburg. The architecture and costuming are perfect and immediately immerse you in the story. Filming took place in historical locations, including the 14th century Rosmedelpad Tremsenum Castle and Pernstegen Castle. The production design makes this movie feel tangible and grounds the supernatural elements of the film. One of my favorite details is how homes infected by the Black Death have white crosses painted on their front doors. This is something people did in real life to signify that their home was infected and to ward off disease. I'm going to sound a little pretentious here, but cinematographer Jaron Blaschke does an amazing job capturing 19th century romanticism. He uses chiaroscuro lighting to enhance the film's Gothic aesthetic. The use of shadow and light not only pays homage to the 1922 original, but also creates an increasing sense of claustrophobic tension. The Carpathian landscapes are beautifully portrayed, haunting and desolate, enhancing the film's themes of isolation and despair. At its core, this movie is about obsession and the supernatural. Like the 1922 original, Thomas Hutter is a real estate agent dispatched to Transylvania to facilitate a property sale with the enigmatic enigmatic Count Orlok. Unbeknownst to Thomas, Orlok harbors a supernatural obsession with his wife Ellen. It's a devilish obsession and a cautionary tale to be careful who you pray to because the wrong spirit might be listening. The narrative crescendos as Thomas uncovers the Count's vampiric nature, and Orlok relocates to Wisburg, bringing with him a plague and a reign of terror. The film ends in a climax that tests the limits of love and sacrifice, no puns intended. The film perfectly embodies the dread of the plague and Gothic romance. It's an unsettling atmosphere underscored by a dark seduction. It gives me goosebumps to think about. Composer Rob and Carolyn's score intertwines perfectly with the narrative. The blend of orchestral and choral elements adds to the dread and melancholy. It's almost like a fever dream of a play. There are haunting motifs that recur during moments of tension or intimacy. The use of silence is equally as effective and allows the scenes to breathe. The score is like a heartbeat guiding viewers on how to feel. The last thing I want to talk about is the casting. I was very bummed out when Anya Taylor-Joy walked away from this project due to scheduling issues. Robert Eggers kickstarted her career as Thomasin in The Witch. She would have crushed the role of Ellen, and I love that Eggers uses many of the same actors in his projects like Ralph Ineson and Willem Dafoe. It would have been poetic for Anya to play this role. So, walking into this movie, I was very skeptical of lilyrosedepp. I'm still a little iffy on if she fits the look needed for this movie, but her acting did not disappoint. She was fantastic as Ellen and perfectly captured her demented connection to Orlok. Her contortions, trances, and movements are bewitching and intimate. She's a loving wife with a very, very dark secret. Nicholas Hoult is fantastic as her husband Thomas. He seems a little dorky and hopeful, but quickly experiences true fear. I like Hoult as an actor and was impressed with his acting in this movie. He is the everyman ensnared in the unfortunate web of a supernatural curse. Willem Dafoe is also excellent as Professor Alban Eberhard von Franz. He serves as the bridge between the human and supernatural realm. Dafoe is such an incredible actor and can fit into any role you give him. He brings his usual quirky and bizarre charm to this serious role and feels like a part of the world. The other actors who feel perfectly in line with this film are Ralph Ineson as Dr. Willem Seiver, Aaron Taylor-Johnson as Friedrich Harding, and Emma Corrin as Anna Harding. They help add nuanced perspectives to the film and feed into Orlok's impending despair. The actor who pleasantly surprised me was Simon McBurney as Orlok. His lunacy and obsession with Orlok felt so demented and demonic. It reminded me of this year's Nicolas Cage's Longlegs. The way he bit off the pigeon's head shocked me. I don't know how they pulled off that movie magic, but I am in a gross awe. Which, speaking of gross awe, let's talk about Count Orlok. You cannot convince me that Bill Skarsgård is playing this role. I never in a million years would have been able to guess that. The prosthetic makeup is phenomenal. Before watching this movie, I looked up Count Orlok to get an idea of what he would look like in this film. Every single picture I've seen online is completely wrong. He looks nothing like the 1922 version. He looks nothing like Christopher Lee's Dracula, Van Helsing's Dracula, the 1992 Dracula, 1998's The First Vampire. No. I think he's much more terrifying because he looks like an aged Vlad the Impaler, the real-life Dracula. He's a hulking, rotting, human-like figure that commands this movie. Deadass, I think Skarsgård deserves an Oscar for this role. His booming and heavily accented voice are insane. I completely understand why Ellen listens to him and does his bidding. Thomas, Anna, and anyone who hears his voice is put under a spell, and understandably so. This is my favorite Bill Skarsgård role. As a fun fact, I looked it up and it would take over 6 hours every day to put on the prosthetic makeup. I appreciate that so much and am in awe at how this Turkish-looking man is more terrifying than your typical vampire depiction. Nosferatu is an extraordinary cinematic achievement that showcases Robert Eggers' ability to balance historical authenticity with bold creative storytelling. By blending gothic horror with a sick and demented love story, he breathes fresh life into a well-trodden narrative, making it feel both timeless and contemporary. The meticulous production design, Jaron Blaschke's breathtaking cinematography, and Robin Carolyn's evocative score work in perfect harmony to create a haunting and immersive atmosphere. The cast, led by Bill Skarsgård's Oscar-worthy performance as the terrifying and enigmatic Count Orlok, brings intensity to this gothic tale. While I initially doubted lilyrosedepp as Ellen, her captivating performance won me over, solidifying her as a key player in this dark masterpiece. Every element of Nosferatu feels intentional and lovingly crafted, from the period-accurate details to the nuanced exploration of obsession and supernatural dread. This film cements itself as one of the finest examples of gothic horror cinema and my favorite movie of 2024. Anora, step aside. Nosferatu is a must-watch for fans fans of Eggers' previous work or fans of the classic tale of Dracula. Honestly, fan or not, I'm going to recommend this movie regardless because it blew me away. If you have the chance to see this in theaters, please do so. Anyways, thank you for watching my review of Nosferatu. If you enjoyed the content, leave a like and hit subscribe. If you did not enjoy the content, thank you for sticking around. As always, I would love to read what you have to say, so leave a comment and let me know what you're thinking. Also, if there's something you want to see reviewed, don't forget to let me know and I will do my best to get to it. Lastly, if you want to see some more from me, then you can check out my vlogs linked up above or my podcast, Good Friends. Again, thank you for watching. My name is Diego and I will see you next time.